So that's for you. So now it's your turn. So obviously we have this whole line to do. We can start at the either end and weld here, weld here, weld here, weld here, weld here, and then go back and do it again. Because what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to spread the heat out. We don't want to warp the panel with the heat. So run like a second or two.
So do you want me to stay in one place or like go in?
Well, you would run the, yeah, we're going to run more than just, yeah, you see how much of a line I ran? Yeah. So this is a little bit heavier metal, so it's a little bit more forgiving. So we'll be able to run just a little bit more than a spot weld. This is 14 gauge, like we have a machine set up. So be careful, probably pretty sharp. Make sure, yeah, and I'll help you. I'm not gonna, you know, you haven't welded as much as Jacob, so I'll help you for sure. Make sure that your helmet changes to the darkness, like dark color, okay? So you wanna make sure that your torch is up here. And then what we can do is we can start here and go this way, so that way we can follow the weld. So go ahead, whenever you're ready. Good. So that's all I need you to do. That's beautiful. Okay. So 6-8 inches away. Now we got to be careful because there's obviously a little bit of a gap here, but that will also kind of help you and let the weld kind of fall down in there and flatten out. So do that here. So here's the difference. Look at the difference here. Yeah. So see how the weld looks a little flatter here? Yeah. And a little bit more bubbly here. So it wasn't hot enough. We didn't. And then at the very end, you see how you slowed down and it started getting hotter? Yeah. And it started flattening out. So we got to get strike the weld, let it heat up, get the metal hot, and then follow that through. So same thing. Do it again. This time I'm not going to help you.
So do you want me to connect to this or just?
Yeah, you can start there, but bring your torch up. Bring your torch up here. Slow down, slow down, slow down. You gotta let it heat up a little bit. You gotta watch that puddle. Watch the puddle behind the where you start. You'll start to see that molten puddle start to form, and then you want to pull it, and it'll follow you along. So do it again, over here. Good. Better. Do it again over here. Do it again. And then bring your torch this way a little bit so you can see it. And then what you're watching for is you're kind of watching this area. Right as you strike the arc, you'll start to see that puddle of molten metal start to form. Go ahead. See that orange puddle? Yeah. And see how much flatter it is? So now go back to the beginning and start the process again. Pull the torch back so you can see. You got the torch a little too close. You got to be able to see your work. You can't have the torch right up on it, or else you're also like, if the torch tip, so you got your wire, and then your torch tip, and then your nozzle. This is the gas nozzle. The gas comes out of here and then flows through here and kind of protects the weld and keeps it clean. So if you get too close, what's going to happen is this tip is going to ground out and short out and eventually stop and then kind of weld all this together. See how there's a bubble right there? Mm-hmm. So this needs to be clean in order for this wire to flow through here smoothly. Same thing with this. Eventually, like over time, this will get spatter in it. And sometimes you can use like an anti-spatter spray or different things to keep this clean. I just take my little file and pick it out. It'll fall right out because it it doesn't stick to brass, just like that. Copper, I should say. This is copper, not brass. So you can clean out the nozzle, so you need to keep everything nice and clean in order for it to work smoothly. Here, hold that. So you got to kind of keep in mind a lot of different variables when you weld. You got to keep in mind, you got to set the machine up right with the wire speed, the voltage. So this dial, you can adjust these dials obviously, and the machine kind of puts you in a nice little green section to kind of give you an idea. But the higher the voltage, the hotter the weld's going to be, which means it's going to melt the metal faster. So we're going to set you back up here. And you also want to try to be comfortable too, as comfortable as possible, so that way you're not fatigued with the welding. Go ahead. Good. And then what we're going to do is, once all this is welded, we're going to grind this off. So this will grind out real nice. Same thing. You can either go on this side, start here, and then pull this way, and then do another weld here.
How long should I go?
Only an inch or so. You don't want to heat it up too much. That's your first initial arc. That was the wire. All right, over here. Good. Want to turn your amperage up a little bit. All right. Can you hear the metal? Hear the metal crinkling and crackling and heating up. Same thing right there. Good. Slow down. You're moving too fast. Do it again. All right, let that spot cool down and start over on the other end. Good. Okay. Do it again. Whatever. Getting better. Slow it down even more. You can slow down a little bit more. Strike your arc and then watch that puddle form and pull it through. Good. The idea is not to necessarily worry about how far we're going. We want to get a good solid penetrating weld in there. So rather than worrying about how far you're going, just slow it down and work on getting it to melt in. Good. Better. Just make sure you're getting the weld up in that seam. Like down here, it's kind of low. So just make sure you're getting that wire right up in that. You almost want to aim more. You almost want to aim more for this sheet metal and have it fall down into the tube. Okay. See the difference? So you're trying to heat the tube up, which takes a lot longer because it's a heavier piece of metal. So aim for the sheet metal and then bring the weld to the pipe. Does that make sense? So here, you handle that. just as long as you're spacing them out. You can weld wherever, but as long as you're spacing the welds out, I'm gonna start working on cutting a piece of poster board for this, okay? Hold on 1 second. Okay, go ahead. Look. Good. So here, look. See how you're missing? You welded the pipe. I think these were when I was helping you, and I cleared that up. But see how you're missing right here?
Yeah.
If you look here, so go ahead and run another, like after you continue on, these are all looking good. All this is looking better. So just, like I said, aim for the sheet metal up here a little bit and then bring it down into the pipe. And that'll help you kind of get them. But what we'll do is we'll get it all welded. We'll break out the grinder, we'll clean everything up, we'll flatten everything out, and then we'll re-hit the areas that we need to. Hold on 1 second. I'll cut this out, and then you can go ahead and put this piece in. Put your first piece of sheet metal in. Let me see if it fits the other side. In theory, it should fit both sides, which it does. All right, I'll cut these out. Keep going. So, what I want you to do is I want you to put your first tack weld back here.
Okay.
And like I said, aim for the bed metal and then bring it to it. Go ahead.
Like right here?
Yep. Perfect, good. Good. That's all we're doing is a little tack weld on this until I can get out of your way. Okay, over here in this corner. Good. Okay, right on the tip. Or right on the point. Good. All right, there you go. Now, same thing, little weld. These will be a little bit tricky because you're gonna have to like pulse it. You're gonna have to put a small spot weld because of that gap right there.
What about this?
Same thing here. I'll probably have to turn the wire speed up a little bit. But like I said, you still have to worry about the heat. So run a weld here, go back over there. I'll cut the next one. Tack, tack, tack. And then these you have to tack too. Like put a tack weld, let it cool, go over there, come back, put a tack weld, and then just keep building on the welds until this gets covered. Is your helmet working okay? Is your helmet working okay? Okay. That's a nice weld. That's nice and flat right there. That one. The one that you just did. ever going to be allowed to weld again? Am I ever going to be allowed to weld again? Oh, okay. So, because it's a smaller piece, just do a spot weld, spot weld, spot weld, and then space out your heat and space them out. I think we're gonna weld this too. I wasn't planning on welding this, but I welded the one on the back, and I think we're gonna weld down this seam and smooth that out too. So go ahead and we'll focus on that first. Come over here and put a few welds in here. You can see now that I have this flattened out. See how I have it flattened out now? You can weld in through here. You can weld in through here and put some weld in there so I can flatten them back out. Good. So I'll finish welding some of these up, and then we'll give you the grinder, and then you can grind this half like I ground that half. All right. We'll tackle this at another time.